Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about being present, being wakeful. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice standing off-center to the right at the top end of the mat. Find a comfortable stand. Arms could be relaxed at your side or placed on your hip creases. We're going to give ourselves a few heel lifts, alternating between floating up and down on the heels, waking up the feet, waking up the energy in the legs. Then ground yourself and bring the left knee up. Start to toe and heel the left foot. And then start to trace an anti-clockwise circle. And then a clockwise circle. Then drop the foot to the mat. Think knee up, knee to the side. Knee up, knee to the side. Then start to trace an anti-clockwise circle. And then a clockwise circle. Come to stillness and begin to swing the knee back and forth. Then hug your knee in towards your chest, standing up nice and tall. Brush your left hand down the leg, reach for your foot, drop the left knee to the floor. Take a little quad stretch. Then take a wide straddle stand so that your toes are on the outer edge of the mat and open up your arms into a cactus spray. Take a big breath in. Start to bring the two arms together. Let's do left on top of right. Trying to bring your hands into a little eagle bind. Stay here, feeling the stretch into your shoulders, or play with a little up-down motion through the arms. Looking for more stretch, more work into the shoulders. Then uninterlace the hands, take a big breath in, start to fold forward into a tabletop line, reaching your fingertips for the wall behind. Stay or give a loose interlace and take a little wiggle into the shoulders. Then center, align and hold. Peel back up into a nice tall stand and heel toe your right foot in so that you're now standing at the left side of your mat. Find your heel lifts. Ground, and then lift the left knee and start to toe and heel out. Begin to circle the ankle in one direction and then the opposite direction. Then relax the knee, think knee up, knee to the side. You can either keep the limb floating or you can tap your big toe to the mat. Then begin to trace a circle in one direction between those 2 points. And then in the opposite direction. Then start to swing the knee back and forth. Hug the knee in towards the chest. Then brush your right hand down, reach for the right foot and take a little quad stretch here, making the right knee heavy to the floor and squeezing it into center. Step the right leg wide. Find your standing straddle. Open up the arms into a cactus frame. Keep your elbows parallel to the floor. Start to bring the two elbows together. And then just before they come together, slide the right arm over the left. Finding your little eagle bind, Garudasana, and start to reach fingertips for the sky and back. Remember this little eagle bind. We're going to use it from a wider straddle stance. Start to fold forward into a table. Reach the arms behind you, or find a loose interlace and wiggle into the shoulders. Center, align, and hold. And then from here, find your way to a 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Find a strong tabletop line, and then when you're ready, begin to cat-cow, alternating between a hollow and a rounded back, working with your breath. Come to stillness somewhere between the two in table. Take a big breath in. Look over the left shoulder. Center align. Look over the right shoulder. Center align. Start to trace some circles with the left knee. 5 in one direction. And 5 in the opposite. Do the same with the second leg. Remember to work in both directions. Find your way to stillness and ease your way into a down dog, coming right onto the tips of your toes and then dropping the heels to the floor and playing with that tiptoe lift and lower. We're going to end on the tips of our toes. We're going to sweep the right leg up, arching the dog. We're going to use this arching three-legged dog to do a swing through step into a warrior two-step, taking a big lunge step forward, windmilling the arms open, back leg open to 90, reach for the wall in front, reach for the wall behind. Then think about how you can morph from your warrior two into a wide standing straddle. Bring your front leg in, bring your back leg in, and then think goddess-like line. Bring the two elbows together, interlacing right on top of left, and find your eagle bind. Look for that stretch into the shoulders and look through your prayer hands to the wall at the opposite end of the room. Then open back up into your warrior two, but this time looking towards the back end of your mat. Use your warrior two frame to drop into a side angle, thinking elbow to thigh, and give me a big sweeping circle with your free arm. Then find that side angle at the front end of your mat and repeat that circular trace with your free arm. Drop into a low lunge from here, sweeping your arms overhead, maybe tucking the back toes under so that you're conditioning into the arch of your foot. Then think hamstring stretch. Find your way back to your side angle. Find that sweeping arm movement. Side angle to the back. Find your circular trace. Back to your low lunge, sweeping your arms overhead and thinking beautiful crescent shape through the back. Then hamstring stretch. Back to your side angle at the back end of your mat with your sweeping arm. Then find your side angle at the top end of your mat with your sweeping arm. Drop into your low crescent lunge, sweeping your arms overhead and opening up generously through your chest. Then think hamstring stretch. Find your way from here back into your side angle one last time with that sweeping arm. Then use this side angle to set up a strong plank line on the mat. Hold for a count of 10. Then think up dog, dropping your hips with control through the plank line, control through the core, hold it, strong through the arms. Down dog it from here. Stretch arms, stretch legs, stretch spine. Relax into child pose from here. Arms long and extended. Then keeping still belly button down and thinking of moving belly button up, start to creep your arms and your trunk off center to one side. Creep as far as you can, then pause, press down through your palms and breathe into the open side of your ribs. Creep your way back to center. Pausing to take a bow here, thinking forehead to floor. Then find your off-center creep to the second side. Breathing into the open side of your ribs. Ease your way back to center. Find your way back into your 4-point kneeling frame and begin to cat-cow. Working with your breath. Come to stillness and table. Take a big breath in. Peek over one shoulder, pause. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to peek over the second. Inhale to come back to center and start to circle one knee. 5 times in one direction. And 5 times in the opposite direction. Then change legs to repeat that circular pattern on the second side. Five traces in each direction. Find your way from here to the down dog and start to play with that tiptoe up and down. We're going to end in the tiptoe position. We're going to morph into a tiptoe arching 3-legged dog on the left. We're going to use this arching frame to find a step through into a warrior 2, leading with the left leg in front, windmilling the arms open. Setting up our warrior frame, being strong and proud. And then think about how you can use this warrior frame to set up a goddess eagle. Bring your front foot into 45, replicate the line from the back leg, think cactus arms. Then start to bring the 2 elbows together. Just before they meet, slide the left arm on top of the right. Find your little eagle bite and hold that beautiful stretch into the shoulders. Then think warrior 2, looking towards the back end of your mat. Settle in, strong and proud. Use the frame of your warrior to set up a side angle, dropping your lead elbow to your lead thigh and getting me 5 big sweeping circles with your free arm. Then transition and find your side angle at the top end of your mat to repeat that little circular trace with your free arm. Then drop to a low crescent lunge, sweeping your arms overhead. Then hamstring stretch. Back to your side angle with your sweeping arm. Then take your sweeping side angle to the back of your mat. Set up a low crescent lunge at the back end of your mat, sweeping your arms overhead, opening up generously through your chest. Then morph into a hamstring stretch, taking half a seat towards your back leg and extending your front leg. Back to that side angle with a sweeping circular arm. Set up that side angle now at the top end of your mat. Find your sweeping arm. Find a low crescent lunge at the top end of your mat. Then take a delicious hamstring stretch. Find your way from here into your side angle with your sweeping arm. Then ease your way into a full plank, pausing for a hold of 10. You can come into a tabletop 4-point kneel if you prefer. Then strong through the arms, strong through the core as you bump your hips gently through the plank line for a modified up dog. Strong through the arms, legs and core. Then down doggy. Stretch the entire body in this delicious stretch. Before releasing to child, you can keep your legs in parallel or you could do big toes together, knees wide. Take a bow. Then find an off-center creep to one side. Hold it. Breathe into the open side of your ribs. Creep your way back to center. Take a pause. Then off center to the second side. Let's run through that vinyasa again. Maybe we can switch it up. Find your way to 4-point kneeling and start to cat-cow. Come to stillness and table. Take a big breath in. Keep that tabletop line as you peek over one shoulder, breathing into the open side of your ribs. Inhale to center align. Exhale to peek over the second shoulder, breathing into the open side of your ribs. Find your way back to neutral and begin to circle one knee out 5 times in one direction and 5 times in the opposite direction. Come to stillness and change legs to repeat that circular trace on the second side. 5 times in each direction. Then find your way into a basic down dog frame and start to play with a heel lift. And in the lift, on the tips of your toes, sweep the right leg up, arch your dog. Breathing into the open side of your ribs, and then find a swing through step into a warrior 2 at the top end of your mat, Opening up your arms, reaching for the front wall and the back wall. Then bring your front foot into 45, replicate on the back leg, settle into a goddess line, bring the two arms together, overlaying right on top of left to find your eagle arm. Hold the stretch into the shoulders, looking through your eagle arms to the wall at the opposite end of the room. And then morph into a warrior two position at the back end of your mat. Drop your lead arm to your lead thigh, find that side angle with a sweeping free arm. Then set up exactly the same frame, but now at the top end of your mat, find your side angle with your sweeping arm. Drop into a low lunge, keeping the back toes tucked under if you can, adding a nice crescent back and sweeping your arms overhead. Then hamstring stretch. Back to your side angle at the top end of the mat with your sweeping free arm. Then the same side angle, but this time at the back end of your mat with your sweeping arm. Find your way to a low crescent lunge at the back end of your mat. Morph that into a hamstring stretch. Back to your sweeping side angle at the back end of your mat. And then again at the top end of your mat. Find your way from here into plank. Think up dog. Think down dog. Ease your way to child, keeping your parallel line or big toes together, knees wide. Take a bow, thinking forward to floor. Take an off-center creep to one side, pausing to breathe into the open side of your ribs. Creep your way back to center, take a moment. Then creep off center to the second side, pausing to breathe into the open side of your ribs. Back to center to run through that vinyasa one last time when you're ready. Think 4-point kneel and start to cat-cow. Keeping the frame of your arms and your legs still and just articulating into the back. Come to stillness. Peek over one shoulder, pausing to breathe into the open side of your ribs. Back to center, and then repeat that peek on the second side, pausing to breathe into the open side of your ribs. Center align to trace some knee circles on one side, 5 in either direction. And then changing legs to repeat those circles on the second side. Find your way into the down dog and begin to play with those heels, dropping and lifting. End in the tiptoe down dog. Add a sweeping, arching, three-legged dog on the left. Use your arching dog to set up a warrior two step through, leading with the left leg in front, Windmilling your arms open to reach for the wall behind and the wall in front. Find your way into a goddess line from here by bringing your front foot into 45, replicating the line in the back leg, thinking cactus arm. Sweep the two arms together, and just before they come together, think right arm over left, my bad. Hold that line. Then back to your warrior two, but this time you're looking towards the back end of your mat. Relax your lead elbow to your lead thigh, setting up a side angle, and find a sweeping arm circle with your free arm. Replicate the same side angle, but this time at the top end of your mat, circling your free arm. Drop down into a crescent lunge. Find your way to your hamstring stretch. Find your way back to your side angle with your sweeping arm. Let's do the same at the back end of the mat. Ease your way into a crescent lunge at the back end of your mat, thinking arms overhead. And then add a beautiful hamstring stretch. Last side angle at the back end of your mat, finding that sweeping arm. Set up the same side angle at the top end of your mat one last time to find that sweeping arm movement. Step from here into a full plank. Strong through the arms, legs, and core as you dip your hips lower than the plank line to find a controlled up dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Then down dog it. Ease your way from here into child, draping your arms long and lengthened on the mat. Taking an off-center creep to one side, pausing to breathe into the open side of your ribs. Find your way back to the center, pausing. Before you repeat that creep off center to the second side, pausing to take a moment and breathe into the open side of your ribs. Lead your way back to center. Think 4-point kneel from here. Think down dog, but on the tips of your fingers, hop it up to find your way into a cross-legged seat. Let's just begin today, left leg in front of right. You're going to take a nice tall seat in Sukhasana, cupping your knees and just working a little up-down release through the head, thinking chin down, chin up. Controlling the movement so that you're releasing tension on the back of your neck. Come back to neutral. Drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Pause. Inhale, come back. Exhale to do the same on the right. Let's do that once more to each side. Find your way back to center. Twist left, pressing down and away with the right hand, keeping both bum bones anchored. Inhale to center align. Exhale to do the same on the second side. Pressing down and away, opposite hand to thigh. Then untwist your trunk. Take your left hand, see if you can reach for the undercarriage of your left foot. Coming into either half a happy baby, or you can extend that leg coming into a heron pose. You could also modify with a block or a strap. Then tuck that right heel as close to the perineum as you can and see if you can use this heron frame to find your way into a half lotus line on the left. Tucking the left heel as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can, taking a moment to readjust yourself on the mat and just find a nice tall seat. Then twist left, pushing down and away, opposite hand to thigh, keeping both bum bones equally weighted to the mat and peeking over the back shoulder. Untwist to center align, big breath in. Let's take that twist in the opposite direction. Maybe just bearing down softly on your left foot, increasing that stretch into the ankle and the foot. Untwist and maybe see if you can come into a soft fold. It could just be a creep forward or a drop down onto your forearms. Or you could use a block or a bolster and lean into it. Maybe looking for that nice massage of your left heel into your groin area and your colon on the right. Peel back up. See if you can reach for that left foot again, coming back into your heron. Maybe you can replicate the line on the right, coming into Merudandasana, dancing bear. You could also work with a bent leg line, grasping from the inside of your feet, or you could hold onto your calves, or you could hold onto your thighs. Look for balance, look for control. Then see if you can keep this boat-like tip off your tailbone, starting to bring the two soles of your feet together, rewrapping your hands around the ankles, coming into a hanging butterfly with your feet hovering just off the floor. Then reground to the mat. Use your elbows to press down on the inseam of your inner thighs and just take a little spine stretch forward. Back into Sukhasana, this time right leg in front of left. Taking a moment to find your tall seat and finding your yes-like nod through the chin. Thinking chin down and chin up. Giving yourself a few repeats, working with your breath. Ending with your chin line parallel to the floor. Make your right ear heavy to your right shoulder. Pause. Back to neutral. Repeat that ear drop on the left. Let's shoot for at least 2 more mindful repeats. Bring your head back to neutral. Take a big breath in, twist right, press opposite hand to thigh, making sure you're keeping your seat tall and centered. Untwisting and then retwisting at this time to the opposite side, pressing opposite hand to thigh. Untwisting your trunk and reaching for the undercarriage of your right foot to set up your heron line, Krachasana. Maybe bearing down and away left, looking for some extra work. Then starting to notice where your left heel is. Try to tuck it as close to the perineum as you can, and then see if you can set up your half lotus line, resting the top of the right foot on the top of the left thigh, taking a moment to just settle in. And if the half lotus line is not working for you, just come back into easy sit. We're going to twist right, pressing down and away with the left hand on the inseam of the right leg. Then we're going to repeat that detoxifying twist to the opposite side, maybe this time just softly bearing down on the sole of the right foot. Untwist your trunk and see if you can find your way into your heron line. Maybe you can keep this small tilt off your tailbone, boat-like tilt, and reach for your other leg coming into dancing bear. Modifying with a bent leg if you need to. Easing our way from here into a floating butterfly, rewrapping your hands around the ankles as you think of keeping that weight tipped off your tailbone and your feet are hovering just off the floor. Then grounded butterfly, add a little spine stretch forward and use your elbows to press those inner thighs open. Sit up nice and tall. Find your way back into Sukhasana, right leg in front. Take a moment to twist right, press down, opposite hand to thigh. See if you can get those thighs to open and release a little bit more. Keep your weight centered. Twist in the opposite direction. Keep your weight centered. You know where you're going to now, so the movements should feel a lot more intuitive. See if you can reach for the undercarriage of your right foot and find your way into heron, maybe bearing down and away on the left. Tuck into your half lotus seat. Take a moment to position yourself. Twist to the right, pressing opposite hand to thigh. Keep your seat centered. Then try the twist to the opposite side, bearing down on the inside of your top foot. Back to heron from here, reaching for the top foot, extending. If the balance is there, maybe tipping the weight off, reaching for the undercarriage of the other foot, and seeing if you can more seamlessly come into Merudandasana, dancing there. Try to keep that weight tip just off your tailbone. See if you can float into a hovering butterfly, really wrapping your hands around the ankles. Look for balance, look for control. Then ground your feet. Think heavy elbows, think spine stretch. Back into Sukhasana, left leg in front. Center your weight. When you're ready, twist left, pressing opposite hand to thigh. See if you can get more opening through those inner thighs. Keep that weight centered and twist in the opposite direction. Opposite hand to thigh. Then unravel. Reach from the left foot. Find your way into heron. Maybe you can ease your way back into your half lotus line. Center your weight. Then twist left. Opposite hand to thigh. Then twist right, keeping your weight centered, bearing down on the inside of that top foot. Keep your weight centered, see if you can find your way into heron. Maybe you can unravel the other right leg and find your way into dancing bear. Then think soles of the feet coming together in your hanging butterfly line, looking for balance, looking for control. Ground the feet, use those elbows, and think spine stretch. Then pick a seat of your choice to end off your practice. It could be this tight butterfly. It could be more of a diamond frame. It could be a cross-legged seat. Pick what works for you. Once you've found a comfortable centered seat, bring your hands together in prayer mudra and add enough gentle pressure between the two palms so that you can feel the energy within resonating between those two hands. Think of what this prayer mudra symbolizes. It symbolizes the coming together of the two energy systems, your male and female energy systems within, symbolizing perfect yin-yang harmony. Take a moment to close your eyes, to take your focus inward, and to think of our key word for today's practice, which was the word wakeful. Trust your most inherent strength of all, the strength to be present, to be wakeful. Each moment you are given is a gift. Don't squander it. With those thoughts, let's end off our practice today on the words Shanti. Peace within, peace without. Thank you so much for coming out and being wakeful with me today. Till next time, keep it light.